We're live here with Shane Warne at Old Trafford on day 2 of the second test.
Yep.
This morning, Shane, you spoke about the best batsman you ever bowled against. Do you want to carry on from there? I think first up we had Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah, it's, thanks everyone for joining us so far. We've got Joe Root's about to get 200 here at the moment. He's not far away. He's on 193, so he's pretty close. Yeah, it was an interesting question we had that came in this morning about who was the best players or the best batsmen from each country that I bowled to. India, the first one, Sachin Tendulkar. To me, he was the best batsman of my generation. He was a wonderful player, all round to both fast bowlers, spinners in all conditions. So he was he was definitely the best from India. That was all. Navjot Singh Sidhu was probably one of the most violent players of spin bowling, and used to whack you all over the park as well. So he was another good player from India that was good against the spinners.
And obviously we're here in England, so toughest English batsman to bowl against.
Yeah, there's a few good England players. Graham Gooch, I think, was the toughest player that I had to bowl to in my time. He was a wonderful player. I'm going to probably repeat myself about most of these players, but the way he judged the length, he was very tough against the quicks, and against the spinners he was quite dominant, had a very good slog sweep, read the ball out the hand well. Graham Gooch was the standout and the best England batsman I played against.
Yeah, and obviously just on the current crop from England, Joe Root's doing very well out there. Would you have enjoyed bowling to him, do you think? Or?
Well, he's a very good player, so I'm not sure I would have enjoyed bowling to him too much, but yeah, he's a good player. You always want to test yourself against the best, but a few of these good England players at the moment have been hard work.
Yeah, and then moving on, South Africa, plenty of batsmen there.
Yeah, they've had very good players, had a few good all-rounders too, South Africa. Jacques Kallis was a very good player, a legend of the game. Great all-rounder, probably the best all-rounder of our time. But I think Hansi Cronje was probably the best player against me, day in, day out, in all forms of the game. He had a good sweat the ball really well, used his feet well, so he had both those things. He could run down the deck to you, he could also sweep you, and had some touch to manipulate the field. So yeah, probably Cronje was the best South African batsman I bowled against.
You're staying relatively close to home, obviously New Zealand.
New Zealand, Martin Crowe. We all miss Martin. He was a wonderful thinker on the game, very elegant and graceful player. But yeah, he was probably the standout. Stephen Fleming was another good player in New Zealand, but I think Martin Crowe was probably the best batsman that New Zealand have ever produced. I got him sort of towards the end of his career, but I still played a good few years against him, and he was a great player.
Yeah, and obviously West Indies, your Australian side, sort of took over from them as the top side in the world. People from there.
Yeah, well, the West Indies, that was such a dominant team for such a long period of time, and then we sort of took that mantle away from them in '95 in the West Indies, and the best batsman for the West Indies was Brian Lara. Arguably, some people think better than Sachin Tendulkar, and at times he probably was. He was definitely the best left-hander of my time, and probably one of the best left-handers to have played the game. It's just great to watch. If you needed 400 to win on the last day of a test match, you'd probably want Brian Lara to go out and bat for you. He could just come and make 200 and win you the game. Outrageous, some of the shots he used to play. And the real strength to his batting was probably his placement. He always seemed to find the gap on the offside and through the covers. Brian Lara was a great player and a good friend.
And then moving on to Pakistan, I think we're staying with the left-hander, aren't we?
Saeed Anwar from Pakistan was another left-hander. I stood in the slips a lot against him and watched him play the fast bowlers. He was equally as good against both the quickies and the spinners, and I saw him play many good hundreds against Australia and around the world. He was just an absolute class act.
Yeah, and just carrying on, through on to Sri Lanka now, please.
Sri Lanka, they had a few really good players in those mid-90s. But the standout player for me was Aravinda de Silva. He was a class act. He was great on his feet, elegant again. Judged the length of the ball really quickly too. That was what stood him out apart from everybody else. And an innings that really stands out was his 100 in the World Cup final in '96. Played a wonderful knock in that one to help Sri Lanka win the World Cup in '96 against us in the final. So Aravinda. He also had nice cars. Aravinda liked his Ferraris and that too. So he was also a good friend. So yeah, Aravinda was a standout.
Okay, just a couple more to go here. So we're moving on to Zimbabwe now.
Zimbabwe, Andy Flower, 12 Test hundreds, was probably one of the best wicket-keeper batsmen to play the game. One of the first people to start reverse sweeping the ball and play a bit improvisation. And then obviously took over as coach of England. But But there was a player I played, I think it was 1990 when we went to Zimbabwe, a guy called Dave Houghton. He'd been around for a long time, and he was an excellent player. Spent, I think, Derbyshire he spent a bit of time at. But yeah, he was a great player. The best player against Zimbabwe I played against. Neil Johnson, Murray Goodwin. There's a few guys more recent than him, but I think Dave Houghton was the standout player.
Okay, and then finally the newest Test playing nation, we got Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh I didn't play much against. I think a few of the guys, the leading wicket takers played a lot of games against Bangladesh. I only played a couple. And not that well. I didn't do that well. But I think Ashraful was probably a... hang on. What what's Joe Root on now? 195. Ashraful was probably a dangerous guy. Pocket dynamo, was a pretty dangerous type player. Used his feet well to the spinners and liked to get on with the game. So he was probably the best Bangladesh player.
Okay, so we've gone through all the guys that were the toughest. Who did you particularly enjoy bowling to?
Yeah, look, there were so many great players playing, but there's also some players I used to enjoy bowling against. They were still good players. I used to have some fun with them, whether it was banter, a bit of sledging, or you could, someone like a Nasser Hossain, you could sledge a little bit and put him off his game. But it was great fun always playing against Nasser. The Shermanator was always good fun for England. Paul Collingwood, he gets an MBE for making 10 or 5 or whatever he made. But my favourite probably was Andrew Strauss. I used to enjoy bowling against Strauss. He was such a good player. I managed to bowl a couple of my best ever deliveries, and a couple of my favourite moments was against Andrew Strauss, his 700th in Melbourne, and one that he let go, thought was a straight one at Edgbaston in 2005 and bowled him. So they were a couple of favourites against Straussy. South Africa, there's only one that I used to enjoy bowling to, that was Darryl Cullinan. Sorry, Darryl, but it was good fun. And you didn't know what was going on, mate. You had no idea which way the ball was going, so it was great to bowl to him. India, well, just about all the Indian batsmen smacked me all over the park all the time, but I did enjoy bowling against Rahul Dravid. He's become a very good friend, but I managed to get him out a fair few times. I used to get him out a lot, so I don't know why. I just enjoyed bowling to Rahul, even though it was tough. I enjoyed that contest. Pakistan, they had also, once again, had many great players, but Inzamam, I think I played 5 or 6 test matches against him and got him 5 or 6 times, so he sometimes a little bit lazy when he first came in. I used to get him out LB a lot, so I enjoyed bowling to Inzamam from Pakistan. New Zealand, Craig McMillan, I used to love bowling him. He used to have these weird stances. He came out and bat front on against you and have all these silly sort of stuff, but he loved his poker, he loved a bit of a beer afterwards. We used to always have a bit of a laugh, so he's become a good friend and doing a great job in New Zealand too. So Craig McMillan was my favourite from New Zealand. From Sri Lanka, a really good player, Dilshan Tilakaratne. Dilshan was a good player, but I managed to have a bit of success against him. But he used to always try and sweep me all the time, so I used to enjoy getting him out LBW. But we had some good battles. He used to always smile and play some good shots, but Dilshan was someone I enjoyed bowling against. The West Indies, Carl Hooper was a very good player of spin and was tough to bowl to sometimes. But I think one of my best ever balls, or the furthest I've ever spun a ball, was to Shivnarine Chanderpaul. So I enjoyed bowling against Shiv a fair bit. He was a wonderful player for the West Indies, but I enjoyed bowling against him. Zimbabwe, Murray Goodwin. Muzz was just a funny little determined guy. We used to have a massive laugh out in the middle all the time, so I really enjoyed bowling against Murray Goodwin. Bangladesh, Habibul Bashar. He was a dangerous player, but it was always nice because he'd have a go at you. So, overall, 20 odd years of playing at the top level, there were so many good players that there's never really any easy wickets out there, but they had many good players, some players that used to enjoy the battles against. It was always good fun.
Yeah, and so now we've just got a few Twitter questions for you now, Shane.
Well, what's Root on now? 197.
Yeah, we're getting close to cross.
Come on, Joe, get a 3 here. Come on, boundary. Oh, the reverse. There it is. The reverse for 200. Well played, Joe Root. Well played. nice to see Joe Root make 200 and play the way he has. He's been very disciplined innings. He's let the ball go really well. Made the bowlers bowl to him, and he's made 200 now. Fantastic achievement, great stuff.
Not a bad way to get there either with the reverse sweep.
The old reverse sweep, yeah, the reverse sweep. They shouldn't be allowed to do that, but well played.
Well, mentioning Joe Root,
Yep.
where do you think Joe Root ranks in terms of English batsmen in your lifetime? Some of that.
Yeah, we had Atherton, Hossain, Alex Stewart, Graham Thorpe. Obviously, Graham Gooch was the best. Mike Gadding. More recent times, Michael Vaughan, Kevin Peterson, Ian Bell, and now Joe Root. So there's been many good players, but Joe Root's one of the standouts in the top few batsmen right now. I'd say De Villiers, Virat Kohli, Steve Smith, and Joe Root are probably the top 4 batsmen in world cricket at the moment in all forms.
Yeah, and obviously 3 of those young up-and-coming guys outside is it for cricket to have guys of that talent still young and plenty of time.
Yeah, very important to have the entertainment value too, and guys that excite the crowd, also guys that play in the right spirit, are entertainers. All those guys are, so it's great to see Joe Root leading the way.
Yeah, and the man on the wrong side of that reverse sweep, Yasser Shah. And what if you could give him one piece of advice to improve? What would you say he needs to work on, perhaps?
Yeah, look, I've had a few sessions with Yasser. I had a good session with him before Lords. Haven't had a chat with him here at Old Trafford. I've sort of just left him alone because I thought everyone would be talking to him, so I sort of left him alone here at Old Trafford. But I think my biggest thing would be to be patient and don't be afraid of getting driven by the covers. I think he bowled 3 overs in a row so far in this first innings. We bowled a bit slower, tried to get the batsman to drive. He got Joe Root nicking. Yunus Khan unfortunately dropped the catch, but he should have got him out. But as soon as he slowed it up a bit and got the batsman driving, he looked a different bowler.
Okay, we've got one here. There's been a bit of discussion from a few of your fellow countrymen on this.
Yeah.
In terms of the balance between bat and ball.
Yeah.
What's to blame? Is it big bats or the quality of pitches that need to be looked at?
Yeah, what we don't want is these big bats, boundaries brought in, absolute flat wickets and nothing in it for the bowler. In any form of the game, whether it be Test cricket, one-day cricket or 2020 cricket, you've got to have some sort of contest between the bat and ball, a fair one. If you get that, you get entertaining cricket, you get exciting cricket, which means the crowds will come and the kids will love to stay involved in the game and they'll want to play cricket. So it's really important to make sure the wicket's right, the boundaries aren't too short. Bats, I'm not too big about it. Have the bats as big as you want, but make sure the wicket is a contest.
Okay, and just finally.
Yeah, last one, come on.
Here we go.
What have we got?
How much did your bowling experience help you when you're out in the middle batting?
Yeah, a little bit. My batting, I was very lucky to make over 3,000 test runs, but I've got that the record of the most test runs in the history of the game without 100. So I gassed it on 99. I had another 90 somewhere, a couple of 80s. So unfortunately, didn't get 100. But I think against the spinners, obviously I knew what they were trying to do. The problem was I wanted to whack them all out the park and try and hit them for 6 all the time and couldn't do it. So they got me out lots and lots of times. But I love the strategy of spin bowling. I really enjoyed that. So, I use it in life and I use it in my poker table and when I'm playing poker around the world. But it was good fun being a spin bowler. I love the game of cricket. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again soon. And well done, Joe Root.